All right, the next thing that we want to look at in this section is reading and writing whole numbers. When we talk about reading whole numbers, we're going to talk about how do we say it in words correctly. When we talk about writing, we're going to talk about how do we write it using numbers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go from numbers to words. So let's talk about some basic numbers before we get into the big long ones. As we talked about before, we said that every number is basically a combination of 3-digit segments. So we're going to start with the 3-digit segments, or basic numbers. Now, in a 3-digit number, you have three things. You have the number that appears in the left column. It will be read as the digit followed by the word 100. If a number appears in the middle column, it will usually have the suffix ty. For instance, if you have a 2, it's 20. Or you can also have the suffix teen, which means that you'll have a 1 in the middle column. You do have some special cases like 11 and 12, but I think everybody knows how to write 11 and 12 in words. And if a number appears in the right column, it will be read as just the digit, except for the teen examples. One thing to note is never use the word and when writing whole numbers. And has a special meaning in mathematics. What it usually means is we're going to be transferring over from whole numbers to either a fraction or a decimal. All right, so let's start with some basic examples. We want to write the number in words. If we look at example A, notice, let's just break this down. So we have a 2 in the left column, which means I want to have the word 2, followed by the word 100. And then the next one, we do have kind of one of our special cases. We're going to combine the 1 and the 2 together to give us 12. So to read this number, this is 212. For example B, we have a 4 in the left column. So this is going to be 4, followed by the word 100. We have an 8 in the middle column, so that is going to be 80. We have nothing in the right column, and so we just stop at 480. All right, for example C, we have a 5 in the right column, 5 in the left column, so that's going to be 500. We have a 3 in the middle column, so that's going to be 30. And technically we should hyphenate, and then we have a 9 in the right column, so we get 539. All right, a couple more examples. If we look at D, we have a 9 in the left column, so that's going to be 900. We have a 1 in the tens column, which means that this is going to be a teen, so this is going to be 14. We're going to go ahead and combine those last two digits together to give us 14. All right, example E, we have a 6 in the left column, so that's going to be 600. We have nothing in the middle column, so we're just going to skip it and go on to the next digit, which is a 1. So for our final answer, we get 601. And for our last example, note that there is nothing in the left column. We're actually starting in the middle. This number, we just go ahead and translate this. We have a 2 in the middle, so this is going to be 28. All right, so that goes ahead and takes care of our basic numbers. Okay, so now let's extend the concept to larger numbers. So starting at the left, we want to write the number that appears in each period, or the first period. So we're just going to break this down into what is between the commas, or what is in front of the comma. Once we write that number, we want to include the period name and include a comma, and then we're going to continue the process for each period as we move to the right. So if we look at example A, starting on the left, what is the number up to the comma? So this is all we're worried about, is this right here. This is 6, and then I want the period name. Well, remember that our periods are 1, 1,000, and million. This is in the millions period, so I'm going to include millions and include my comma in the words. We move on to the next period. I'm going to ignore the 0 in the left column. All I care about is the rest of it. So in the next period, we want to know, how does 58 translate? This translates to 58, and we include the period name and the comma, so we should get 58,000. And then we move to the last period. What is this number? This is 100. Don't say and 20, it's just going to be 120. And you're done. All right, let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Let's look at example B. Example B, if we start on the left, up to the comma, this is 23. We include the period name, 1,000, and a comma. The next period and the last period, what is the number in this? This is 605. So total we get 23,605. Okay, let's go to example C. So starting on the left, up to the comma, we have the number 400. I need to know my period name. Here are my little clues, my ones, thousands. This is in the millions period. So we get 400 million. Our next period, we have 33. And then the period name of 1,000. Include a comma. And then our last period, we just have the number 7. And we're done. So this number is 400,033,007. All right, last one. This one looks like a doozy. But again, if we break it down into the smaller components, it's actually not that bad. So if we go ahead and start on the left, we have 2. I'm going to go ahead and put my little key up at the top so I know what periods we're looking at. This is 2 trillion. Include a comma. The next period, we have 400, period name is billion. We include a comma. Now note here that in the millions period, we have no millions. And so what do we do with that? We skip it. So there's not going to be any mention of millions in our answer. So let's go to the next one. The next one, the number inside is 50. Our period name is thousand. Include a comma. And then our last period, we have the number 18. And we're done. So this number is 50,018. Again, remember, do not include the word and when writing these numbers in words. Okay, so where do you need to know this? Well, one of the reasons that you need to know this is you do need to know how to say these numbers properly. I know that a lot of the TV shows that I watch, like American Pickers, they always say 1005. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'd take it for $5 more, that's fine. When what they actually mean to say is 1,500. Other areas that you need this is if you're going to write checks. I know that we probably all use debit cards nowadays, but just in case you're in the habit of writing checks, you do have to write the number in words. So that's another example. And of course, the last example that comes to mind for me is if you are taking an English class and you are writing a technical paper, if you start the sentence with a number, that number does have to be in words. If it's inside the sentence, then you can go ahead and use digits, but if you look at papers, you will never see a sentence started with a number in digit form. Okay, so we've gone from numbers to words. We have one more presentation for this section. We're going to go from words to digits. So take a quick break and then we'll go ahead and look at that one.